Good morning, everyone. Here we are on a Saturday. It's March the 24th, and it's going to be an excellent day. The Lord is with us, and that's all that matters, isn't it? So we're continuing to read through Joshua today. It's another 4 chapters that we read through, and we come across the famous Battle of Jericho. It's not an exaggeration when I say that I am wrestling with or chewing on or trying to work through this whole thing about the command and the voice. It may not be something that is obvious to you, but recently the Spirit has really been bringing it to my attention. It started off with it brought to my awareness the role of the priest and the prophet, the role of the written commands, the laws, and the voice of God. And we see an example of it here in the Battle of Jericho. They've been given the commands. The commands are written down. The instructions are written down. How to live life. How to live life with God. It's all written down. If you want to see it as formulas, you can see it as formulas, but this is the way it works. And it's all written out. And obedience to these is going to allow function in the Israelite kingdom, and blessings will flow. Crops will produce more than what normally they would produce because God's going to bless it. They are going to be a rich nation, and God will be honored in all of this. He will receive the glory by living that. But now they're coming into the land, and Joshua is not going to find battle plans written in the commands. The rules for life, the rules for living, the rules for loving God, the rules for loving your neighbor, they're all there, and they're told to obey them. But the battle plans aren't there. So Joshua needs the voice of God, and he receives. He hears the angel comes as the voice of God, and he must give instructions to Joshua there. And suddenly Joshua finds himself in the oddest position of having to march around the city and shout for the walls to come down. That wasn't the end of it. That just gave them access to the enemy. And then they had to move into the city. And they had to. God told them everything needs to be wiped out. Everything. Because keep in mind again, this has nothing to do with cruelty. This has to do with a disease. This has to do with the fact that I really believe that God gave them 400 years to come into repentance. But they had become a very wicked society, all of these nations. They were sacrificing children. There was a mystical element to them. They were into divination and witchcraft, and there were giants in the land, and the whole thing. And it was a disease. And God said, we have to cut out the disease. That's all there is to it. And so it was His judgment that was falling on the land. But here we have the voice, and Josh was listening to the voice, and they take Jericho. That was the big one that they had to start off with. The next one was much smaller, Ai, and it should have been a simple matter. Joshua scouted it out, but he didn't. He didn't look for the voice. He didn't consult with God. He didn't go to God. He didn't ask, and so he didn't receive instruction. Again, it's not in the command, but it's in the voice. And he assumed, and he went and attacked, and he had no idea that the circumstances had changed. God was no longer with them. He was no longer going to go up with them because they had entered into the same sin as what was in the land. What was supposed to be reserved for God, which had become holy, Achan had taken that for himself. and it was wrong. And people may consider that God was harsh, but when Achan entered into that sin, it was the same thing. He became part of the problem, and he had to be cut out. So the voice of God gave instruction on what to do, but it was also a part of the commands. It was in the commands as well. So this is the part that I'm chewing over right now, because there's part of our life that, well, all of our life is really based on the commands. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, with all your being, all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Now, all the instructions that were given to Israel come down, if you want to boil it down, come to those two things, and that gets applied to everything. You will know what to do in every situation when you apply that. So we're told in the Word that when a brother or sister is in need, we address that need. So we know what to do. We don't have to respond. That is following the command. That's following the command. But the voice will tell us how to meet that need. We still have to listen for the voice. The voice will tell us how to approach that need. And we're given the safety net because it's trust, where provision is a matter of trust, not of faith. Although trust is part of faith. See, there's all that stuff, and it's deep and it's wonderful and it's exciting, but we trust the command. We trust the promises that we find in the command. We trust that God is the provider. We operate according to the command, and we trust that He is a good God and that He does what He says He's going to do. Faith is more along the lines of the voice of living according to what we don't see. See, the commands, a lot of the commands we can see. We can see those commands. We see the benefit of them. We can see, but there are things that are unseen. When the voice tells us to do this, when the voice tells us to march around the city, we can't see what that is about. But we know what He's promised. We know what this, it says, I'm going to give you this city. We don't see it right away. We don't see how this is connected. We don't see how marching around, but we have faith in the one who has given us a command. We have faith in the voice. We have faith in our shepherd. When our shepherd speaks and gives us instructions, we obey that. So this is wonderful examples that we have right here, and it's fantastic. It's a great lesson for us because quite often we're taking on giants. That's what we're left here to do. We have been given authority, and that authority is used for the benefit of other people. That's what we're doing. The authority has been given to us to use for the benefit of other people. So we take on giants. We fight for people who don't know how to fight for themselves. We look after those who spiritually are weaker than ourselves, who are less mature, who don't know how to do this. We take on battles. That's what we do, because that's what we're instructed to do by the voice. And we do it out of a motivation of love for God and love for our neighbor, because that's what the command says. See how beautiful it is? So anyway, it's just stuff for you to chew on. And if you can get revelation of this, if you can grasp this, I think it's really going to change a lot of stuff in our lives and in our church and in our impact in this community. So you be blessed today, be used by God, allow His power to pour through you, and let's just celebrate today. Oh, what a fantastic day. What a great God we serve. God bless.